You're listening to the Ottawa Homeboyz podcast, your go-to source for Ottawa real estate and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Aboozar Sheikhi, Burton and Ahmad Hage Hassan. This podcast is about the real estate market in Ottawa and housing advice. But the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact the Homeboyz or any licensed real estate professional for specific recommendations before you make decisions about your real estate needs.
Welcome to another episode of Ottawa Homeboyz. I'm Aboozar Sheikhi, along with
Burton. Nice to be here.
Ahmad, Hage, Hassan.
Welcome, another episode, and we're looking at what's going on with the market and stat-wise as well as the sentiment. You know, we're in the field, we're doing the showings and the listings and so on, and we're going to be talking about the the feel for what's going on, what to expect in the new year, and what's going on in November overall. So awesome. Let me know, boys, what's going on.
Yeah.
What's cooking?
Lots of exciting stuff going on lately, Aboozar. Nice to be here. Can't wait to chat about market stats, market sentiment, catch up with you guys as well. A lot going on personally for me, business-wise. Have a buyer that just firmed up on a lovely place in Orleans as of yesterday evening.
Congrats.
Yes, sir. Nice corner lot, above ground pool, heated and salt water. Just, it's a really, really great spot, and the last owners took really good care of it. It was one of the cleanest inspections I've ever seen. So
that's always nice, eh?
Just reassuring, knowing that you have that much love going into the home already, so it's easier for you as the next person to take it.
And we've done inspection episodes before, and that's it too. Being in the field for a while, you get a idea of what's happening as soon as the inspector touches on something. You're like, is it going south, or is it gonna exactly. So we pretty much pick it up before even the buyer knows what they want to do, so
depends on the person too, right?
Exactly.
Because some people are
the risk tolerance overall, and the experience and all that.
For sure.
And there's a few things we can pick up in advance. We've been searching for a little while with these guys, and there were enough homes that we saw that we knew which homes had been well taken care of and which homes hadn't, and it was a big factor of their search. They didn't want to get into something, pay today's prices, and get their hands dirty.
And it's the idea that's planted initially, which is fine. Some buyers, they have a dream of getting a certain property, but then it's like, are you willing to take on certain risks, as you may say, to be able to reach that? Or do you want to maybe perhaps just move your expectations slightly to get the home you want, but perhaps it may not be the initial thing that you had.
Because you can always negotiate price, but also does the buyer want to fork up that money to fix any sort of underlying issues, right?
Absolutely.
There's a lot of closing fees that come along with buying a home. So if you're adding an expense of replacing an AC unit, maybe some roof, it can add up.
It does feel like there's that premium on stuff that's been really well taken care of because of all that as well too.
For sure.
It just feels like, to me, there's less buyers that want to do that right now, and the ones that do, we want to get a good price for it, and accordingly so, right? You have to deal with the headache of getting a guy in there, and if you're doing up the kitchen, you gotta be ordering out.
Post-COVID, it takes time now. It might have been faster before, but the renovations are just dragging on, and contractors are just picking up more work. They're not gonna say no to you, right? So they're just gonna pick it up and just play the delay game.
So aside from that, got a very interesting listing that's gonna go live later today.
Good.
Aboozar. Freehold. Domicile built, so great builder for their time. Really, really consistently good quality finishes in there. And it's like a minute off Rideau Street. So if
I know that very well. We had a conversation on that piece. So I did a commercial property there.
Yeah, he's right next door there.
So it's right next door. So I knew exactly as soon as you said it, I'm like, it's a nice little spot. That's going to be a nice home for someone. Because you can't get any more central than that. They will not build anything of that nature anymore. It's done with, right? That concept, yeah.
Even condo building just a couple doors down, condos as you look. We had drone yesterday when we were out for media, and we got a shot looking down Rideau Street. It's really, really something how much it's
So
grown.
say the address then, to tell the listeners the address.
It's on 4 Thorburn Private is the address.
Okay.
So Thorburn is just a minute off Rideau and Coburg.
Yeah, so it's a prime. You
Yeah.
can't get any more prime than that, in my opinion. If you want a residential home,
Yeah. No,
non-apartment style, right? So
exactly.
yeah, and going back to your Orleans, because we're talking about market sentiment, Dan, we want to let the listeners or viewers get a feel for what are we looking at in terms of the length of time you're working with a buyer nowadays. How long does it take for you to look, narrow down, and lock down, basically?
Yeah. No, good question, Aboozar. For these guys specifically, the research and planning stage had already been well in the works for a while.
Yeah.
They knew this was a big life goal for them. They took their time, preparing the funds, just scrolling and seeing what's available. And they came to me, I believe it was mid-August.
August. Okay.
So we had a few different avenues that our search could go. We explored those avenues by seeing them out in person, and then we found a few that were really interesting in one avenue of their search that I feel like worked best for them. And I think just seeing it also reinforced that this is really what we want.
And it's never too soon, right? It's never too soon. It may take up to 3 to 4 to 5 months, right? To get with this market.
For me, I think it would be totally normal
Yeah.
for 3 to 6 months being a smack dab. Like great amount of time to do your homework. You get to see enough properties, right? You get to know, hey, if I got into that one, did it sell and I didn't make a move on it, but what did it sell for compared to what we saw it at?
And did you go to, how many showings did you have and how many multiple offers? Did you have any?
We were probably between 15 to 20 showings.
Okay.
And we were in one multiple offer situation. That one was 6 or 7 offers.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, it was priced really attractively. Aboozar, and it had a lot of good features for a family like theirs, and then second for value. Like it was going to be like a 5-minute walk to an LRT station.
Yeah.
So if you want to commute to downtown and still have some space and affordability and all, it was a really, really cool option. Ended up somebody wanted to go unconditional and somebody wanted to go higher. Sure, totally get it. But being in that offer situation was good for them to see what the process was going to be like, and then as we got out to see more, feel more comfortable with that process already.
I wanted to ask you something, Aboozar, because you've been in business for some time, and I think part of our jobs as realtors is we are going through the search process, and we're looking at 10 plus homes before they start feeling comfortable about what they like, right? Because there's so many options.
Yeah.
So many different types of homes available, so many different builds and finishes and all that kind of stuff. When you first started, did you find that was the case with your buyers, or was it a little bit of a different?
It depends on the market, right? Like what are you entering into, and sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's just not. But I was fortunate enough, I think, but it's like when I got licensed and got into it, we're talking about 2009. Mm-hmm. At that time, we had I would say a seller's market. So getting into it was somewhat similar to the post-COVID, but it wasn't as chaotic. So the expectations were set. So when I entered, I had enough time to scope and think and analyze and get together with veterans, and so it was a better type of market. And I used to just feed on open houses because these veteran agents, they did not want to do anything as far as, again, not anything, but to open houses. It wasn't enticing enough. They were too busy listing, let alone having time to do any open houses. So that was my thing. So I started and tested out. Back then I don't think anybody was doing Thursday open houses. So I started doing that a bit. It started being like one Thursday I had probably like 35.
Wow. 35 people.
Families visit, and out of that alone, I picked up 2 buyers and sold buyers, which I continuously worked with them, into the future. So I think it really goes back to you really have to be dead on as a realtor, whoever wants to be a realtor in the coming years or months or whenever, to try to analyze the market. And so that was my experience.
Because obviously there's a lot of stuff online about what we truly do as agents. Right? There's a lot of sentiment where I think people are starting to really understand like how much work can go into helping a buyer buy a home. And especially now that prices compared to 2000s or 1990s are 3 to 4 to 5 times higher than what they used to be, right? And there's so many more options. That like, doesn't that make buyers these days a little more picky, undecisive, right? In terms of
I think hesitation is the word. You know, like I think it's hesitation. You may seem a bit picky, but I think it's just the uncertainty and the hesitation is the driving factor. Whereas when I started, that was not the case. And you've been told to be the ethical agent, right? With integrity and all that factor. I wasn't into making a quick buck. I still am not. Again, it's not an advertisement, it's just the way. I probably lost a lot of business, and I did lose a lot of business at the beginning when I started off, because at that point I had a qualified buyer, 2-year-old property under Terry on warranty. We go into multiple bids, and hint, the listing agent's telling me, what else can you do? And me, I'm like, no, we want the inspection. I mean, that is the way to go, but then to provide the option to the buyer and let them decide, perhaps I could have done better, so that they say, okay, but then it goes back to experience, right? You're qualified, the property's 2 years old, you got a 7-year warranty, you go through the risk analysis, and they're like, okay, if I presented it that way, they would have decided that, no, I'm gonna, let's go on clean offer, no conditions, and probably would have gotten that property. So pretty much, I think that's what it is. I think it's guidance, and then it's just the hesitation, especially with this market that we're having. Too many options, and the right guidance, I feel like would tremendously help, as opposed to show. It's like exhausting yourself as a realtor, getting them emotionally distracted, I feel, and then that's it, and then you get that call or whatever, maybe a holdout, or the urgency just isn't there. But if they know what they want, maybe they can narrow it down to 3 streets or a neighborhood, and then the properties there are going to come and go, and the focus is there, then they take it more seriously. So I think it's guidance and hesitation at the same time, hand in hand with what's going on now.
Right.
So what have you guys been up to? You been up to Ahmad?
Yeah, I actually did a Thursday open house last night.
There you go.
Gave that a go. Had a few people walk through, so that was nice. Just wanted to try something a little different, kind of like an after work type of vibe. So I was pretty happy I went through with it, so that was good. Other than that, the one listing that I have up on Springfield, we're getting some good amount of attention and some traction on it.
Talk about the neighborhood, the area, because that's another prime spot. People are looking for things like this, and then maybe they can't get their hands on certain homes. Narrow down, and by the time they get to your property, maybe too late or whatever. So talk about the neighborhood.
For sure. Well, I mean, it's address is 135 Springfield. Great little mature neighborhood, I'd say. Definitely old, a bit of an older complex, and the condo fees are crazy low. So I feel like a lot of people don't really move out of that neighborhood, and because it's in Beechwood and it's close to 10-minute drive to downtown, so you can get yourself immersed in the downtown hustle and bustle, but you're living on the outskirts of it.
So which have that privacy or the
that's such a nice combo.
Yeah, exactly. Overall, definitely a great buy. It's a 1-bedroom, so it's going to limit the amount of people that are looking for a home like that. You know, you're probably a couple that would be interested in that type of home. You know, if you have children,
Yeah.
you know, that wouldn't work out too well. So, so yeah, quite happy with how things are going so far.
And it's also the largest one-bedroom floor plan that I think I've ever seen.
It's huge, yeah.
I can't believe
Because you were
big that
talking
is.
about there was a potential lead thinking about conversion, right? Is that exactly the same property
yeah,
we're talking
same
about?
one. Yeah. I mean, it's the bedroom is big enough that you can actually put 2 bedrooms in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
So you know, you can definitely convert it in that sense
Awesome.
if you have the money and patience to do it.
Good stuff.
100%.
But yeah, 1,200 square feet. So very
That's pretty big.
very
Have you seen a
decent
one-bedroom
size.
that big, man?
No.
I've never seen a one-bedroom that's
Never.
1,200 square feet.
Well, yeah, it's typically the older 80s built 2 bedrooms. You're looking at
Yeah.
about 1,100.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Did
think a
I
3 bedroom maybe more, but
Yeah.
Did I tell you guys there was a restaurant before?
no.
No way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's why it's such
So
a
they converted their so it's zoned. Okay, if you're looking for a commercial property, you can convert this thing back to what.
A restaurant.
Do you know that? Are you advertising for a commercial?
No, I'm not actually. It's just like they've.
What's the use? Do you
I wonder
know?
if they
I
changed
should
it
double
over.
check.
Yeah, I wonder if they changed it over
It's
time as
interesting.
well too, right? I know there's a lot of areas like where it'd be nice to have like that little neighborhood restaurant, but the zoning's just not there for it.
That's why I'm wondering what is it? What is it?
What's it
for?
zoned for? You know, that's a good question. I mean, I didn't look back at it because I mean, the reason I thought was, hey, they probably converted because it wasn't a successful restaurant.
Yeah.
And then
you
the
know?
other thing is if it's set up so nicely already as like a large one bedroom,
Yeah.
would it be like
Yeah.
that much?
I'm thinking. You know what I'm
renovate
thinking?
and make it a
I'm thinking like a
restaurant.
podcast
Yeah.
studio.
We'll buy it out.
We need one of those.
But it's something of that nature. If it's it's an idea. Look
Yeah.
into it. And
I didn't think about that.
my thing is always, I mean, if you get that potential for the zoning, even residential properties that I've listed that are zoned for commercial, I post the commercial as well. You never know,
Yeah.
because you might actually come across a commercial lead as well,
Yeah.
which may not end up buying that property rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
True.
That's something. Yeah, cool, good stuff. So yeah, I've been, with the new listing that hopefully will get going next week and a half. It's the Claridge buildings, the let, 200, 250 let, close to the War Museum there. So that's one bedroom that's coming on the market probably about a week and a half from now. It's a 1 bedroom.
Nice.
And it has a parking spot as well. So that's looking forward to that. So getting
Those are great buildings.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
I think one of them there has a rooftop patio.
They do. Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that's pretty sweet sell, especially because the
for
Burton
sure.
Flats is right
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
So you kind of got
Exactly.
access to everything that's happening.
And again, the low rise and they're built in the corridor, like you have that court
Oh
in
yeah,
between.
yeah.
So
I know where those are. I had a friend that used to live in their
yeah.
one of those units.
So yeah, so looking forward to getting that up and running. They had a tenant in there before. Again, big headache, so they had to go through the whole eviction process, and I've been keeping in touch with them. So we've updated some things, and I'm gonna drop in tomorrow to see how ready we are, and once that happens, lock and load and get it ready and into the market. And I've been awkwardly dealing with a lot of divorces happening, man. I don't know what's happening, but yeah. So it's basically visiting clients that are basically separating and then putting the homes on the market, and that's probably 2 cases in the past week. I've visited a past client, and then as well another lead that I got that they're separating, and there's 3 properties involved that they have to pretty much get rid of, and one of the 3 is eviction process as well. So it's a lot of that happening as well, which is
It has its own level of complexies.
It does.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's
it
all
does.
sorts of reasons to sell.
Like a lot of court order and so on and going,
Yeah.
and the court has to pick the realtor. So I'm basically competing with 2 other agents. So I've done my presentation, and there's 2 other agents that.
Oh, that's
I'm
interesting.
getting
You present it to the court.
That goes to the court, and then the court decides on
Wow,
the
interesting.
on the realtor to pick from. So yeah, so that's again, it's real estate, right? It's never ending, and you're always learning something new. So
sure.
it's yeah, that's something that's challenging enough for me. Yeah. Do you guys want to take a look at the stats?
Sure.
Or do you want to talk about the sentiment of the market and then talk about the stats? How we prefer.
Yeah, we can show the stats and talk about the sentiment.
Yeah.
How things are going.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So what are we looking at here? All right.
Awesome.
So we're looking at the month of October 2025. Sales activity. It's actually, compared to the previous year, there was a 1.2% drop, right?
Yeah.
This is also for the overall residential market. So for
That's
the
it.
listeners, this
That's
covers
it.
single family, townhomes, condos.
Condos as well, yeah. New listings, we're looking at 2,405. So
That's actually interesting because it's up 13.4%, but overall, most of this year, I think that number has been a much higher percentage. I think
so
we've
too.
seen
I think
numbers
so
like
too.
40 to
Yeah,
50% up.
I think so too. And again depends on the specific type of category,
Yeah.
the property types that. And then active listings 4,232.
Yeah.
We're up 21%.
Yeah.
And the months of inventory is high as well. We're almost, from the 3 months of the previous year, we're heading close to 4 months of inventory right now.
And that's even October. That's generally a pretty strong selling
It
season,
is, it
right?
is,
You
yeah.
got September and October as little fall peaks. So 3.6, I expect that would creep up in November as well too. Be interested to see, but I expect that's going upwards.
I think so. Closer to 4 mark, 4.2, maybe 4.2ish. And then average price 709,000 again. This is taking into factor everything, right? This definitely. Don't freak out if single home detached properties are not 709,000 average. It's taking into factor the condos as well as the townhomes, and then sale to list price ratio. That's always tricky, just because we're adjusting the list price based on the activity. So seems like that it's selling close to asking. It is selling close to asking, but that's with the price drop adjustments and so on. So it's always good to take a look at this statistic, but it's not showing us how will the market.
And that's also including just sold, right?
Exactly.
Like we're not seeing terminated or
Exactly.
listings.
And then what's really intriguing for me, which is a thing to look at, is the days on the market, which is 26 days versus 24 days. So it's okay. When I take a look at this right here, it gives me a calm feeling to let me know that if this jumped, for example, drastically by like 30 days or 45 days, that would have been now it's like so. As long as we're adjusting the expectations in terms of the list price, properties are selling close to asking, hence the number of days on the market, and then impacting the overall active or sales activity actually.
That might be a nice transition into what you guys are seeing for market sentiment right now as well, because I know I've had a ton of different conversations, buy, sell, folks like maybe a year or two out from buying, asking what's going on. A lot of this stuff to me points towards balanced market territory overall, and then I think there's a lot of mini markets in there, but stuff like you can see the differences even here, guys. Like, look at this. Median days on market, October 2020, 7 days.
Yeah.
That is just such a strong seller's market statistic.
And historically, you're always hovering around that 30-day mark, right? Probably that's just intense with the 7 days, but I feel the same way. Sentiment-wise, I feel like, if we settle the economic situation with the tariffs and so on, hopefully, the stock market seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, it crashed a little bit.
It was on an absolute tear this year. But the last I think 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been pretty down.
So it's always that if it holds to a certain degree, the interest rates the same way, I feel like again, we're not saying anytime soon, but I feel like right into the beginning of 2027, we should perhaps get a better momentum, a healthier momentum. Again, we don't want to. I'm not up for that.
You're thinking 2 years ahead, eh?
But you have to. You have to. Look at Dan. We were talking about new builds, right? You were saying now builders are selling for that, right? I mean, builders now catch on to those hypes, right? Now it's the best time, perhaps, for new builds, and planning that far ahead. It's not. It just time goes by. Like, see how fast your 4 months or 5 months went with your buyers, and you feel like, oh, I'm not ready right now. And I have buyers right now that are looking for like a specific pocket, right? And I had a meeting with them. No, it's maybe too soon now. Let's wait for spring. No. You have to keep looking. It's hard, and that's what I'm here for. I keep poking you and enticing you whenever the right property comes along. But there is no specific time now to get into the market, especially in a market like this where you really don't have your foot down on what it is. Really, we're seeing inventory. Holy cow! The number of inventory. I was looking at Canada. Oh, the townhouses. Right? It's insane, the number of townhouses. And then you're looking at specific pockets where you have to go above asking in multiple bids. So this is not either a seller or a buyer market. We're like constantly adjusting our expectations and short-term predictions too. But I think the long term, looking at around 2027, my gut feel is right around that point. We're gonna start seeing things.
Do you guys think the wave in mortgage renewals is going to have any effect on the market? Because to add more context to the question for the listeners and everything, we've seen this such crazy volatile 5 years with regards to interest rates.
Right.
I know there is something like 50% of Canadian mortgages are going to be up for renewal in 2026 and 2027 and earlier.
That's great.
So you're looking at, what do you guys, what 1% difference in interest rates is going to affect your monthly payments by hundreds of dollars.
Oh, for sure.
And just going to skew upwards as you go with the higher purchases price, right? So what do you guys think? Do you think that's going to affect affordability? Do you think that's going to affect people wanting to move? Do you still see a lot of upside potential to the market, or is it going to take a little bit longer to get that upside potential?
I think people have been preparing for it, personally. Like, I believe that people have the expectation that it's coming, and they've done their adjustments to reflect that. If it's adjusting your day-to-day, if it's not going to Whole Foods and going to Loblaws instead, like changing your grocery habits. Like, there's little things
Should
like
I cancel
that.
Disney Plus?
Disney Plus. Expensive
Plus.
Netflix,
Everything,
man. I'm
everything.
paying the ad version now. It's like $25 or something. I'm like, no, man, I'll pay $6 now.
I'll take the ads.
I'll take the ads.
The sports is the one that gets me, man. Because I wanted to watch the World Series.
I'm not a sports guy, so I can imagine.
I got Sportsnet, man. $35 a month for that subscription.
Okay.
And if you want to watch hockey, they black out certain games.
Yeah.
So we're in Ottawa, you can't get the Ottawa Senators game.
Yeah, I learned the hard way.
Oh, wow.
It's a mess.
That's new.
But it was worth it for the...
With the World Series.
It was worth it.
Yeah, except for the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bummer. I'm with you. I feel like, the debt level has gone up statistically, but overall for people who have mortgages, it's a bit different. Most of the stats coming out for the debt service, it's because of people who don't have mortgages, right? And for those people, I feel like, yes, that's the case, the savings, because our board did a survey, right? Which we can share maybe with the listeners with the next episode, where they tested the sentiment, and it was all that, and the whole worry about the whole situation is me affording my mortgage. So again, the sacrifice is going into being able to pay your mortgage first over other things. Another thing that's interesting, which happened a couple of years ago when the renewals were coming on, was the bank strategies. I feel like Canada has one of the maybe a few countries that have solid banking systems. You don't see that in the States at all, or some other countries. And what they did was, as soon as the renewals came, all of a sudden they started offering, instead of 5-year, 10-year. And this is sooner than the maturity, right? So as soon as you hit around maybe 2026, when you're mortgages up around 27, they started offering, instead of 5-year entice, like a incentive or better rate for the 5-year, they started doing it for the 10-year.
Can you extend your current rate? Like if you're on a 5-year and it's up for renewal, and they're like, hey,
that's up to the bank's discretion.
So, but like, do they have that option to like extend the previous rate up to 10 years?
I think they'll offer you a specific rate with that 10-year.
It is. It's a specific new rate. It's most likely higher than the rate that you're accustomed to, but it won't be as drastic as you reassigning for another 5-year with a % higher. So it's somewhere in between. So they got a mid or a median sort of a calculation on what the rate should be, to create enough, make it enticing for those going on renewals to pick that 10-year or a 7-year. So that actually came up, and I know quite a few people that they went with the 10-year option just because they could not afford that drastic jump to get locked into that 3-year or 5-year that they had been previously. So definitely the rate will be higher, but I think the bank strategies, because they're pretty solid, the banks we have in Canada, knock wood, I don't want to mess up.
Yeah.
But so far it's historically,
the government has their hands in the banks, right? So that helps a lot.
Historically, exactly, it's been that way. So if it was, in the States it's always different, right? I feel like that's a whole, because you have so it's just a privatization of the banking system. It causes a lot of issues, and that's why the States went belly up with the 2008 fiasco, right? Just because of the private banks were just giving out money, and then the whole insanity happened. Whereas Canada, that wasn't the case here, So it just shows you how solid we are.
So you're looking at something mostly like stable, from what I'm hearing, then Aboozar?
I would say so. They're way ahead in terms of offering those renewals. And package to avoid default, because banks do not want defaults, right? That's the last thing they want, is to deal with properties, multiple properties. So they're not realtors, right? They're just they want to make interest. That's pretty much this.
Yeah, so the money's made for them.
Do you guys want to chat anything about seasonality when it comes to market sentiment? I know right now, you kind of look outside and it looks brutal. It's bitter cold.
I'm not going out.
Dark by 5:30 p.m.
It is that,
right?
Absolutely.
Do you guys see how that affects either buyer or seller sentiment for you guys? Do you have any stories on that?
For
How does
sure.
it compare to the spring and summer and all?
I could share, my current sellers who wanted to relist in the springtime, and I'm on the notion that like if there's if you can't show the home because there's something in the family, like a sickness, or it's best to just simply not show the home, and you're not ready to accept any offers. It's my opinion that yes, taking it down for that period of time makes sense, but while there's less buyers in the winter, you just never know if the right buyer is there. And especially when it comes to most realtors that advise their clients, hey, let's just cancel, relist in the springtime. You're taking the same advice as 80% of the other agents that are doing the same thing. So you just have much more competition. During this time of year, because there's less inventory, you just never know, right? You never know if the right buyer comes along.
I do think it definitely depends on, I'm glad you touched on this early, just the situation of who is the occupant of the home. Like if it's your owner that's selling it and they're selling it first before buying their next home, they can leave it up and be patient and know that just by advertising it, you've got that chance to lock in.
So it goes back to the situation as well.
I had a couple conversations. I had a conversation with a client from in the past that was considering a sale after we put the tenant in. Year lease has gone by, they're month to month and everything, and they're great, lovely tenants, probably qualified enough to buy. And he was chatting with me just saying, like, what do you think of now or in the future? And for that situation, I thought, timing-wise, it doesn't make sense to disturb the tenant right now. Because I think you have all those showings that go through, you frustrate the tenant, you might not be able to get the price that you could in the spring or summer when there is more people searching. And I shared with him all this stuff as well. I pulled December 2024's pricing compared to May 2025's pricing. The average price, which was a big one for him because it's an investment, right? We want to make sure the price is right. The change is so significant, right?
Yeah.
That it just made sense in that instance to reassess as we get closer to the spring market of this year.
So I think it just goes back to the seller's position financially, and you know, commitment wise to any other property or not, and but for the buyer end, you know, dealing with buyers, personally, this is what I say, like, what are your options? Yes, they are limited, but like, I have a client like looking in Westboro, like, there's 3 little properties just sitting there. You know, it will not sit there in the spring, I can guarantee you that. Okay, it's a fact. It's I'm not even speculating. No, it will not.
You're
in the 800s, it will not.
They'll be gone. Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, yes. You know, you don't feel like getting out. You know, the days are getting shorter. I agree. There are challenges to purchasing homes that in the colder weather.
Yeah.
You know, you're dealing with snow.
Moving.
You know, if you're a year of moving. Yeah, but even the inspection part as well.
Yeah.
So you have, you know, if you know the age and the year of your you know, insulation as well as roof, yeah, you're good to go. Age of the property has a lot to do with it. They will not be able to check the cooling system of the home, anything, you know, past 15 degrees, they won't be able to. But then you analyze, you know, again, guidance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the cost of, you know, how old is the cooling system, right? 5 years old. So analyze, break it down for the buyer, and you know, what are the costs involved, you know, 4,000, 3,000, yeah, versus maybe a market where the prices might slowly climb up, or you may not have any options. Are you willing to wait? Maybe not. Let's just go and see this property. So I think it's just for us to sit down and just narrow it down for them, analyze it, dissect, and let them know, and let them make the decision.
I'm glad that you brought up the buyer side of this as well, Aboozar, because I think it's important and interesting to have both sides of the conversation, seller and buyer, right? I got a guy where we're searching in Cornwall, and I think I've been chatting with you guys a little bit about like these outskirts areas searches.
Yeah.
The freehold starter home stuff in areas just outside Ottawa, man, it was on fire over the summer and the spring. Everything, multiple offers, right? We stayed a little bit longer than everybody else has because we're searching in November, right? And just as October rolled into November and the days got shorter, things got colder, it's like night and day, man. Like, we were able to go in on one and we started 10% under because we knew nobody else was coming, right? So it's a fun time. The properties that are on the market right now, there's a chance, there's a good reason why they're on the market. Yeah. And if you're a buyer that might be looking to pick up a deal, I think probably now is a good time to be searching.
For sure. Agreed. So before we wrap up, I want to tell you something interesting. So we're doing a buyer seminar in the next, hopefully, month and a half or so. So that will be advertising soon through the podcast as well as other means. So we basically set up I just did a mock-up for Eventbrite. I set it up. We were talking to Dan. So I got someone who registered, man.
How did you get that?
No way!
I did not think this thing would go, basically, would be live. Yeah. So I set up the date for January 20th from 6:30 to 7:30.
You got us committed, man.
Even if one person shows up.
You know what I mean? So that was like, so I get the email, I'm like, oh my.
Somebody from Ottawa?
Yeah.
How did they?
I don't know, man. Like, I got it. This is the because I know with that system you can actually they have a paid version where they can really boost through social and different things. It's just I thought you guys
funny,
it is.
That's too funny. I can't believe we got to sign up already. So even if just one person signs up, we're doing it.
So I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and so
we got a lot of stuff on the go, man. We got the giveaway that's active right now. Mike teased that on our last episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody that hasn't seen it, social media, check it out.
Ottawa Homeboyz.
Ottawa Homeboyz.
That's it.
Giving away Sens tickets. So.
Yeah.
Seems us it's mostly the partners that are gonna get them at this point.
It's not bad though. The turnout I heard was
We're getting some.
we're getting, and
Yeah.
still a week to go, right? So
Yeah.
so we're
Still
announcing what
lots-
date? So
We're announcing Friday, November 28th.
28th,
So
and then the
we've got,
games for December.
And the games for December 6th. So we want
Sens
to give
versus-
a little bit of time. It's Sens versus St. Louis Blues.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
That's it.
Saturday night game should be awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
And just one thing we should probably mention too is we obviously welcome anybody who wants to join the podcast.
For sure, absolutely.
So I think we're obviously real estate professionals,
Yeah.
but we're happy if you're
Yeah.
in the mortgage space, in the business space.
business space,
Restaurants.
local businesses, and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
want to meet people that also have a business
Yeah.
and just let them share their story and just connect.
Absolutely,
Right?
because at the end of the day, all ends to real estate, in my opinion.
It does, man. It really does.
Yeah, that's so true. So true.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Good seeing you guys, and until the next episode.